Hello everyone, Tanya Fox here from Crafty Crafters with my awesome sidekick Lily, and today we're going to show you the knit and the purl stitch. So if you haven't had a chance yet, feel free to check out our how to cast on video, and that'll show you how to get started. So let's learn how to knit. So in the knit stitch, what I did is I just cast on 15 stitches because we're just going to be doing this little swatch here. I'm using a worsted weight yarn and I'm using 5mm needles. So to do the knit stitch, if you followed our cast on, it's going to be really easy to get into this stitch. So here's my first stitch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my needle from my thumb to the tip of the needle through the loop. And I'm making that X that we spoke of in the cast on video. I'm going to take my working yarn, so again, that's the yarn that's attached to your ball, and I'm going to wrap it from the back to the front around the needle that's at the rear. I'm then going to bring my needle through, grabbing up this loop, which I just wrapped around my needle. So far we're exactly the same as what we were for the cast on. Now the only difference is I'm going to take this stitch that is on my left hand needle and I'm going to slide it off. So I've now moved the stitch over to here. That's knit, that's all there is to it. So again, going from my thumb to the tip, I'm going to go through the loop, making my X with my needles, taking my working yarn from the back to the front. I'm going to come back through right where I went through the last time, making sure I snag that loop that went around. And on my left hand needle, I use my right hand needle to push it off. I'm just going to slide it off the needle. So I'm going to show you a few more times here in real slow-mo, and then we're going to go a little bit faster, oops, so that you see. Now, a lot of people will tell you different ways to hold your yarn. Sometimes I wrap it around my finger and hold it out. I kind of do a bunch of different ways. Do whatever works for you. So again, from my thumb to the tip, I'm going to go through the next stitch, making my X with my needles, working yarn from the back to the front, bringing this needle right back along the path, making sure I snag the stitch, and using my right hand needle, slipping it off. One of the things you want to avoid is that when you go into this stitch, you're not using your other finger to try to get this off. Try to get in the habit of using your needle to do it. It just becomes a lot easier, and you'll find that your motion is a lot smoother as you go along. You can see by just using my needle and holding them against each other, it's pretty easy to slip it off. So you're going to just continue this. Now you can see that my work is starting to kind of twirl here. When you get to the end, just make sure it's down and you don't have, it's not twisted like that. So at the end of every row, I just kind of set it apart. So again, from your thumb to the tip, your right needle goes to the back and you wrap around, come back through the same hole and push off. And this is really all there is to the knit stitch. So you're going to continue to do that until you reach the end of your row. So wrapping around, back through the hole, slip off. Thumb to the tip, wrap around, back through, slip off. Thumb to the tip, wrap around, back through, slip off. And you can see it's twisting, but that's okay, because here's my last stitch. Slip off. Now my left hand needle is empty. Now I'm just going to sort this to make sure that when I start my next row, it's all where it needs to be. So now I just switch my needles. So this needle is going to go into this hand, this needle comes into this hand, and I'm ready to start again. Now, you want to make sure that your tail is not what you start to wrap around with. You always want to make sure you're using your working yarn. And you're just going to continue on. So you're going to go in through your first stitch and you just keep knitting. Now knitting like this, when you do every single row a knit stitch, both sides, is called the garter stitch. And this will give you these purl-like bumps straight through your work. But that's all there is to the knit stitch. So congratulations, you are only one stitch away from being an intermediate knitter. So thank you so much for joining us today. Just do a little swatch, 15 to 20 stitches. Just get used to the fluid motion of using your needles, not your fingers, to pull off your stitches, and you're well on your way. So stay tuned to our next video, which is going to be the purl stitch. And once you have that stitch, you're an intermediate knitter and you're well on your way to do other stuff like cabling behind us. Now it might look a little scary, but it's not. You'll get it. So join us for our purl stitch. Keep up with your knitting practice, and if you have any questions, feel free to the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you too can see all of our upcoming videos. So from myself and Lily, blah blah, we hope you have a crafty day.